We've got life-saving technology that changes lives. One of the key things we do, Neil, is heart valves. And one thing I want you to get out this podcast or get out this conversation, there really is no wrong or right answer. When you stop learning, you start dying. One of the key things I found that's enabled me to be successful is, better get going.
Yeah, unbuckled discussion.
Unbuckled discussion.
This is unbuckled discussions.
Unbuckled discussions. Unbuckled discussions.
Unbuckled discussions. Welcome to unbuckled discussions. Thank you for watching this episode. It is a bit long, but it's got a lot of really good content in here. So if it's too long, just put it on fast forward and do yourself a favor and listen to it. Phillip Kelly is a very intelligent man, and he will teach you a lot.
If you would like to see the full podcast, please check out Unbuckled Discussions, available on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Audible. Soon to be Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and wherever else you get your podcasts.
If you like and want to support this channel, please check out my Patreon page. Details in the description, or you could buy something from Vesica, where I bought these sunglasses from, using the link in the description. Cheers. Stay unbuckled. Thank you for coming on Unbuckled Discussions.
Absolute pleasure, buddy. It's good to be here. Name's Phillip Kelly, as you know, South African, born 50 years ago. I moved to Australia about 12 years ago with the family. And, I would say I'm a family man, I suppose. That's probably the best part of the way I can describe myself. I work in the medical industry. We sell medical products to hospitals, so particularly heart valves, and then all sorts of ICU medical stuff, etc. So, you know, I think life takes you in certain directions, and the road that you go down, you know, you don't always choose. So to say, hey, look, you should have ended up in the US or you should have ended up here, I mean, who knows where we should end up and who knows where we're going to end up, Neil, you know what I mean? We might eventually land back in South Africa, for who knows, you know, as we move on and get older. That's probably the key, rather than, hey, I've got to be here, I've got to be there. It's not really the destination for me. It's probably more the journey.
I've been trying to leave Australia for the last 7 years and failing miserably as I...
Or maybe something's keeping you here, and maybe there's a reason keeping you here, you know what I mean? So,
I've been thinking that actually. So the reason I wanted you on is because I feel like you've got a lot of experience from your career over your life. And you seem to articulate yourself well, and you have a good, well-rounded understanding of the world and what's going on, right? So,
well, I hope so, but thanks for saying that. One big thing I've got in life, Neil, is respect. I think respecting everything, respecting your elders, and it's not about being subservient or bowing down to things. You know, I've traveled to, I don't know, I mean, I'd have to count, but probably 50, 60 countries. So I've seen a lot of different countries.
And you've been to those countries multiple times?
Yeah, a lot of them multiple times.
Oh, okay.
It's just my work. It took me there. I used to manage what we call the EMEA. It's Middle Eastern Europe and Africa. So I got to see a lot of different cultures. I've been to places like Morocco, Tunisia, Israel, Egypt, Russia, Serbia, you know, the old Yugoslavian states, which is Slovenia, you know, Montenegro, those areas, and, you know, Europe, etc., and then a lot in the US, etc. Been with the company for 25, 26 years, yeah.
Do you feel like you've climbed as high as you can climb on this ladder?
No, look, it depends what ladder you're referring to, because everybody sees it differently.
Yeah.
We've had some conversation about this. I mean, could I climb higher if I wanted to? Yes. Have I climbed as far as I probably want to? Yeah.
Okay. So
I've probably gone up the ladder and come down the ladder a little bit in terms of where I've been, and it's been an incredible journey, Neil. You know. Look, I think at one stage in my life, for sure, I wanted to climb as high as I can and as far as I could. But I think as you get a little bit older, you probably get to realize that's not the most important thing in life. You know, once you get to a certain destination, you might realize, well, this isn't really what I wanted, you know? And then you take a different path.
And, sorry.
No, good.
We were talking before about definitions of success. So, I've completely lost my train of thought.
No.
So what do you like?
Look, I think the definitions of success, and you and I spoke about this in detail, right?
Yeah.
I think one, it's everybody's perspective of what success looks like. Your version of success and my version of success are completely different, right? And I think that's the first part that we have to accept, is that people have different views, and people have different views about many, many things, and especially what success looks like. And I think your version of success and the way you view success will change through your life. When you're younger, you might see success as driving an M3 BMW, right? But as you get older, you might see success as being, hey, you know, my kids have achieved and they've got a degree and they've got good jobs. And then maybe as you move into your late 50s, you might see success as being, you know, retiring on some farm somewhere, plant a few millies and grow some potatoes. So I just think we got to be real careful when we determine what success is, because it's different for everybody. I come back to the thing of respect. You know, for me, success is showing respect. For me, success is being able to not treat people badly and treat anything badly, and those are the basic forms of success for me. You know.
One thing I think you are successful at is speaking. Now I just had a brain fart and couldn't think of what to say. Right, I had a brain fart, but then you just picked it up and kept talking. No. So you've clearly had a lot of experience with public speaking.
Yeah. So I again, two things. One is my job ensures that I have to do that because you know, I manage people and I have to speak to groups of people all the time. I also speaking never came naturally to me, Neil. You know, I had to force myself to public speak, and the way I did that in my early career, I went to Toastmasters. You would have heard of Toastmasters, which is a public speaking organization in South Africa and here. Toastmasters is a global organization, and you go to these meetings where they teach you to speak and they teach you to engage with people. And so I learned a lot about that. And then I just forced myself to do it. I forced myself to learn because it was a key ingredient to be successful in my job was speaking. Speaking was never natural. Even today, it's not natural. Mm-hmm. Even though it might seem, hey, it picks up naturally. There are a few really good speakers that are natural speakers. People like Obama, Donald Trump, some really, really good natural speakers. But I'm certainly not one of them, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, that's humble of you, I think. But have you ever done a podcast before?
So look, I've done quite a few podcasts. I've done several podcasts around the business and around what we do.
Sure.
Sometimes they interview me in terms of my position and what leadership style have I got. So, we also do a lot of patient interviews because we're a medical company. We bring in patients and I talk to patients about their journey. You know, what did they face? How did they get there? And then we talk about the technology that saved their lives.
Okay.
So we do a lot of that in terms of public speaking, and that's recorded. And then we share that with our teams. We share that with the company, and we share that with the public. You know, we've got life-saving technology that changes lives. So I mentioned to you one of the key things we do, Neil, is heart valves. Yeah. So when your valve starts to fail, literally you're not getting enough blood through your system, through your body. And because your circulatory system starts to slow down, you know, your fluid in your lungs start to block up. You don't get enough oxygen, and it feels like you're slowly drowning. And it's a terrible, terrible disease. And a terrible way to die because it's really very slow. So we come in, we replace the heart valve, and the correction's automatic. It's immediate, and patients feel better immediately from the time the valve gets replaced. And it's amazing to see it changes their lives forever. So when we interview people like that, it's very humbling. The company I'm with is Edward LifeSciences, and they're an extremely ethical company. They do things for the right reasons. Sure, we're here to make money, but if we didn't make money, we wouldn't be able to invest in innovation and new technology. Yep. So we balance out the commercial side, the capital side, versus doing good for patients and making people's lives better. And it's a great place to be. I've had an amazing career, an amazing journey with the company, so I can't complain. It's been fantastic. You know, a lot of times people speak about work-life balance, but hey, you got to get your work-life balance right. But that's the wrong terminology you want to use. A better terminology to use is what we call work-life integration, and that's more prevalent today, where you learn to integrate your work and your personal life together, and what works for you and what works the company, and the better you can integrate it, the better job you're going to do, and the more happy you are you're going to be in your life. So gone's the day of, hey, listen, I need to be at the office at 8 and finish at 5, and I've got to balance how much work and how much home time. Nowadays, it's more about integration. When I really need to be off, I'm off, but when I really need to be at the work, I'm at the work.
Yeah, okay.
And you integrate that together, and that's where it's going to at the moment.
Do you think because of the whole pandemic situation, it's going that way?
I think that's generated it and accelerated it,
Yeah.
for sure. But I think it was headed there anyway before the pandemic. Pre-pandemic, I would fly to the US for a 6-hour meeting. And now you probably wouldn't do that. If I'm going to the US, it's probably going to be for 2-3 more days of stuff. And I think that's where the company's grown as well. Is now they would say, hey, look, do we really need to do this face to face? We could probably do this virtually.
Yeah.
And that's where it's got to,
You think you get the same results out of that 6-hour meeting on Zoom or Teams or whatever, as opposed to face to face?
Look, I think it's not so much. Sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. I think generally it's balanced and it's good productivity. I think what's more important is what I've spoken about is the integration. When you do that, you start to balance people's lives.
Yep.
And the work-life integration starts to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's key when it comes to doing things like that. Not so much, hey, it's more productive, because probably what's really productive is having everybody in the same room, and you face to face, and you can deal with the situation and deal. That's very productive.
Yeah.
But when it comes to people's work balance, then it's not so good,
Yeah, I
because
see.
hey, I've just spent 2 days flying to the US.
Yeah.
You got to work it out,
Yeah.
Globally, it's there to stay. I think what we've got to work out now, coming out of the pandemic, is, and I don't think many organizations have got this right yet, is what's the balance? What's the balance of, because remember, pre-pandemic, we were all at work. Mm-hmm. Post-pandemic, during pandemic, we were all at home.
Yeah.
Now we've got to find some balance between work and home, and what that looks for each organization is going to be different.
Yeah.
So it just depends in which industry you're in, and some people, if you're a doctor or a nurse, very difficult to do your work from home.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be there.
Maybe some of it can be virtual.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're in. But I think a lot of companies, like our company, Google, are trying to work out what's the balance between the two. But I think, to answer your question, is it here to stay? 1,000% it's here to stay, Neil. People won't go back to the old ways of being into the office 9 to 5. I don't like to pigeonhole people. I think one of my pet hates is when we put people into boxes and we pigeonhole people. Hey, look, he's old, so he can't do this job, or he can't do that. Hey, you're blonde and blue-eyed, so you're not intelligent, or hey, you're a woman, so you can't fly a plane. Or I hate doing that. Mm-hmm. And we came from a history of a country that classified people by race.
Yeah.
Which is the most craziest, silliest thing you could ever do, because it doesn't make sense.
Yep.
So I hate to pigeonhole or classify things, and that's why I said I hate the word old school, because it's everybody's equal and everybody can do something, and it doesn't matter whether you're young or you're old, or maybe we do things faster or slower, but really, who cares? At the end of the day, we're all on this earth for a reason, and we all should be respected, irrespective of who we are, whether what position we hold, whether you're the CEO of a company or you're the janitor.
Was that the culture in the South African branch of the company, you think?
Look, I wasn't so much the culture of the company, but it was the culture of the country.
Yeah,
it's
that's
what we grew up in. That hey, if you this, you'll get this. If you that, you'll be this. If you that, you can do this. If you this, you'll get this job. So it wasn't fair and equal, and that filters through to every parts of society, and it filters through to your home life. It happens in your own personal home life. Hey, if you're the maid, you don't come to our toilet, you go to the toilet outside.
Yeah.
You don't sleep in our house, you sleep outside. Or if you're in the company, hey, very hierarchical. Hey, if I'm the boss, you'll respect me and bring me coffee, and if you the tea girl, you'll clean the cars and make the tea. I think that is changing in some countries, in some organizations. I've definitely see a massive change in that in South Africa, for sure, from the time I've been back. It takes time to change society, and it takes time to change norms, Neil. Just because you want to change and you want to be better, it doesn't mean society and systems move quickly with it.
But so do you feel like that time in the army, including the leadership course, do you feel like that set you up for what you've done in your career since then?
Look, it definitely helped. What it set up for me was discipline. Before I went into the army, I had zero discipline. And, I was a young kid who didn't want to do anything, cut my hair, make my bed. You come out of the army, it definitely changes you. So I think what it set me up, maybe a little bit for leadership, because I got to learn how to lead people. But I think it also set me up for, just being disciplined and consistent. Because that to me has been one of the key things I found that's enabled me to be successful. Is the more disciplined I've been and the more consistent I've been, the more successful I've been.
Yep.
Are you willing to get up every morning at 5:30 and get going and do your thing? The army taught me that.
So, true. Maybe I should go to the army then, eh?
Well, you don't have to go to the army to learn that.
Yeah, no.
Right? You can learn that through life, and you can learn that through other ways, and it also doesn't mean it's right, Neil. That's what I'm saying. And one thing I want you to get out this podcast or get out this conversation. There really is no wrong or right answer. There is no really wrong or right way of doing things. There is no, hey, if I do this, this, and this, I'm going to be successful. If I went to school and I got a degree and I'm a doctor, I'm successful. I know many, many doctors that are very unsuccessful.
Yep.
And they are terrible people to be around. I know some fantastic doctors, on the other hand, that are brilliant. But all I'm saying is, just because you're a lawyer, a doctor, or you're a president of a country, doesn't make you successful. And so what I want you to really get out of it is, there's no real wrong or right answer in life about what you need to be and who you need to be at. I think it really boils down to what you think is important and what you think you want out of life and what your goals and what your values are.
Yeah.
And I think if you get that right, if you do that with respect, you're fine. It's the end. It's easy to say, hey, listen, I want to be a gangster or a badass. But the only way I'm going to do that is to hurt, shoot, and kill people and make other people's lives a misery. There's no ways you can claim that is successful. You might as a gangster, but general society won't look at it as successful. But if you're a traveller and you don't believe in success as the degree and going to work 20 hours a day, society is not going to frown upon you if you travel the world and you help people in various countries. That could probably be more successul and seen as more better quality of life than sitting in traffic 2 hours a day.
I like the way you put it. Yeah, it depends who's looking, because I think coming back to South Africa, a lot of people in South Africa still have that idea of success, because unlike Australia, in Australia you can do any job. You can work as a janitor and buy a house. You can work at McDonald's and buy a house. Where South Africa, like the pay grade, your quality of life is vastly different if you've got that degree and got that that title, compared to if you're doing a normal job. So I think as a result of that, a lot of people in South Africa still might look at me or anybody as a traveller, you know what I mean, not working 20 hours a day, as somebody that is unsuccessful. But I think that's quickly changing though with the new era though.
Look, again, you're going to get, doesn't matter how well you do, you're going to get some people that will look at you like that and some people that won't.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to you about this before. I mean, I think what's important is how you see yourself and how you focus on yourself rather than your focus on how other people see you. Because when you move your focus to other people, one, you've got no control over that, Neil, and you're never going to change some people. You're never going to change them. Why would you? If your view is, hey, I don't like a certain group of people, you're going to really struggle to change those people's views.
Yep.
So rather focus on who you are and what you want to do, and then focus on the people that see the good in you for that, rather than the people that don't, because you're never going to change their minds.
I like that.
And another piece of advice I can give you there on that, Neil, is that, again, I spoke about this pigeonholing of people. So what you don't want to do is say, hey, South Africans are like this, Australians are like this.
Yeah, this is true.
Because I see it all the time. Every time I say I'm South African in Australia, their automatic view is I'm racist.
Yep. Yeah.
Straight away. Hey, you're South African, you're racist. Hey, you're Jewish, you hate Muslims. Hey, you're Australian, you like drinking beer. It's so false. That
generalizing, I think.
Generalizing is so damaging and so false that it puts people into categories they shouldn't be in.
Yeah, because obviously all South Africans are different, all Australians are different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's good and bad in everybody, and it doesn't matter whether you're a South African, whether you're an Australian, or whether you come from Iraq. Some very, very good Iraq people. There's some very, very good people in every society, and there's some very, very bad people. And there's people that are biased, there are people that are racist, there are people that are good, there are people that are... And we as a human race, we've got to stop this, hey, I'm South African, so you've got to be this. I'm black, so you should be that. I mean, how many times have you heard it that you know, whites can only do this, or this can only do that?
Too many times, yeah.
And it's wrong, and it's false. It's dumb, and it's wrong, and it shouldn't happen. It's, at the end of the day, we are all humans, and we should all see each other as equal, and the environment. The beautiful earth we've been given and the animals we've been given. If we could do that, how much better place would the world be?
What do you think? What is the likelihood, in your personal opinion, of that actually happening?
Look, the good in me would hope and pray that it would happen. The pessimist in me would say, given human nature, probably never, because unfortunately we as humans are a greedy species. We tend to, enough is never enough for most humans. If we've got a car, we want a better car. If we've got a house, we want a bigger house. If we travel, we want to go to more countries. We just never satisfied as a human race. We always want more and more and more, and unfortunately, this earth is got a limited amount of resource. And we're probably getting to a point where we're extracting more than the earth is giving.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's going to be a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Without being negative.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be negative on your podcast.
No, it's okay. It's all about truth, and people have to accept the truth, right? If that's negative, so be it. 1 second, I'm going to just go to the toilet. I'll be back.
No problem.
After the army, like how old were you when you got out of the army?
20.
20, and then what was the next step for you?
So next step, I met Cheryl, and we got married soon after. So I think I got married when I was 22. Just started my life. I mean, I started to study. I studied through Siemens and got an electrical engineering degree. I then joined a medical company and then finished my MBA. I went to Wits Business School and got an MBA.
So you did your electrical engineering degree through Siemens company?
Correct. So
Did they send you to a university? Or?
Correct. I went to Wits Technikon, and I got a T4 level engineering degree at Wits Technikon. And that was really helpful because, in medical there's a lot of electrical engineering and a lot of medical equipment. But I liked the business side of it and how to run a business. So I did an MBA and I got a lot of experience, and then I just sort of landed up in the business. And today I use both. Today I have a technical department that reports into me. So we have an engineering department in my division that reports to me. And I also have sales and business and marketing reporting into me. So that's eventually where my career led up when I came out of the army. But more than a career, I think what's been better for me is the life I've had with my family. Two beautiful kids, Lance and Natalie, who have both been very successful and both gone on to do some really good things. And then I've had an amazing partner, Cheryl. So that's been even better, and that's what I'll remember more than any career, for sure.
What, you were straight into Edwards LifeSciences?
No, so after my MBA, I joined a company called Baxter Healthcare.
Yeah.
And Edwards was part of Baxter. It was a division of Baxter. And then in the year 2000, Edwards spun out of Baxter. There was a buyout, a management buyout, and Edwards listed separately on the New York Stock Exchange.
Okay.
And I had the opportunity to either stay with Baxter or join Edwards.
Yep.
And because I just finished my MBA, I thought, small company, growing company, I'm going to learn more there. So I went with Edwards instead of staying with an established company like Baxter.
Yeah, more potential for quicker growth in Edwards as well at the time.
Yeah, quicker growth, just more learning, because it was a new company. And the rest is history. I mean, I've just done so many things with Edwards that, I'm blessed as far as what I've been able to achieve and do with Edwards.
Has the company grown a lot since you began with them then?
So the company's had phenomenal growth. When I started with Edwards, there were about 1,500 employees.
Yeah.
20 years later, there's 9,000. Amazing success story. Driven by an amazing man, our CEO, his name's Mike Mussallem. Phenomenal vision in terms of where he brought this company from and to.
Yeah.
Highly respected global leader.
Have you worked directly with him?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do you feel like that's the end of the road for you in terms of learning, like traveling the world and expanding your opinion? Or yes.
Ongoing. No matter how old you are, you've heard the term learning never ends, right? When you stop learning, you start dying. So don't ever stop learning, and it doesn't matter who you are and how old you are, and I don't care whether you Elon Musk or President Biden or whoever you are. You'll never stop learning, and you never stop understanding and being a better person, because that's life.
Yeah.
I think when you think you've got to that point, you're in trouble. Look, I think in closing, good luck with what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's super impressive that you want to grow, you want to learn, and you want to get everybody else's opinions. A lot of people, don't want feedback, or they don't want to know what other people think. And I think it's very refreshing as a younger person that you want to learn and grow, because, at the end of the time, this is what you're going to look back on.
Yeah.
And you're going to, every little interaction you have with somebody, you're going to learn a little bit more.
Yeah.
And, by the end of it, I think it's going to really benefit you. So good luck from my side. I mean, I hope you really nail it. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, yes, thank you. Enjoy work.
Yeah, no, better get going.
If you would like to see more of Phillip talking about his time in the Marines in South Africa, please check out the video up in that corner somewhere. Furthermore, I'll see you in the next Unbuckled discussion. Stay tuned, stay unbuckled.
Thanks, Neil.